listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Hello, patrons. How are you? It is the end of the year, that wonderful time. Wait. Why do I have reverb on my voice? I did not mean to have that on there. Let me turn that off. Or perhaps it's better this way. No, I don't think it is. All right, so it is the end of the year, and as you may know, I like to do things at the end of the year, and oh my God, I left my notes in the other room. Hold on 1 second. Here, listen to some fife and drums. There you go. Okay, now we're back. All right, so at the end of the year, I like to do one of these things. You know, it's got several different purposes. One might be to wish you all happy holidays, whichever one you celebrate or don't celebrate. If you're lucky, you don't celebrate any. I would like, but here's my view on Christmas. It's a hassle. I got 2 months of Christmas music that have just turned me off to the whole thing by the time Christmas comes. And you got to travel. It's a day off. Everybody has a day off. I want to rest. That's what I want to do. But instead, I need a rest from my Christmas rest. So I don't really enjoy it. But anyway, that's not the point. Whatever you celebrate, I hope you have a happy. And I also want to thank you for everything this year. It's been a great year, 2023. It started kind of shaky for me personally because I was burning out. And I had really toyed with scaling back things and at certain points quitting. But there was always something would always happen that would make me decide against quitting. It's typically someone would, hey Joe, how are you? Oh Joe, I need to talk to you later about the computer. It's time for an upgrade, so I need to know what to get. Anyway, we'll talk later. Anyway. So it's exhausting, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse by reminding everybody of that because nobody asked me to do this. I did this myself, and so who am I complaining to? But it was exhausting, and then there was a lot of upheaval. Eric leaving at the end of 2022, all on good terms, but he was like my right-hand man, and it was a great situation because he was unemployed the whole time. So we had the same schedule. He was available when I was available. And so he was always there to help me. Like, for example, today I'm running the live video software. I have nobody to do that with. And so, and of course that happens. I have a manpower handicap while the workload just jumped up. And a lot of that's my own fault because I try to add more things because, I'm trying to make this valuable for you, the patron, and the free loaders as well. Because I really do believe in what I do. I believe in learning about American history, understanding it, not just learning about it, not reciting facts, but understanding American history. And one thing that started happening this year as we got into this stuff was I started to realize that history, I don't know if I believe it or trust it. Or I don't know what the word is, but I don't accept it like I used to. And it's not for nefarious reasons that I don't trust it. Meaning, I don't think people were purposefully lying to us. But I do understand that a lot of history comes from recollections. And the more time between an event and the recollection that there is, the less reliable the story may be. And so, the story of the Battle of Gettysburg, just like any other event in history, is made up of recollections. There was no video at the time. And even when you have events like, for example, JFK's assassination, where you do have a visual record of the thing, no one can agree upon what they're seeing. And so that's the Battle of Gettysburg on film wouldn't have really helped us too much. You could have had drones up over the battlefield and people would still disagree on what they're seeing. So my attitude, my views on how to view history has changed in this last year, because my eyes, when you do this show, your eyes get open to a lot of things that maybe someone who, reads history books for a hobby or watches documentaries or listens to podcasts as a hobby might not get, because you don't have you're not constantly having the stuff go into your ears and eyes. And so it helps my perspective change. Anyway, so a lot went on this year, and it was an exhausting year. And finally, I don't know, somewhere around February, I was just like, you know what? I have to just reset my brain. I'm going to keep on going. I'm not going to try to do anything too ambitious this year. I'm going to just hold the line. Like Mel Gibson in that meme. Hold. That's what I was going to do. I was going to hold until my brain could heal itself from the previous couple years. And a lot of good things personally happened to me. In the same week, I got my puppy Major and my girlfriend Cindy. And those are two great relationships that I have that have enhanced my life and have made a lot of my stresses just vanish. And it's really amazing how loneliness is a death sentence. I mean, I thought I was physically dying almost once a month from something. And once I met Cindy and got the dog, I hadn't been to a doctor for the whole year until last week. That was just an annual checkup. So it's just funny how things improve. Now, in spite of myself, just trying to calm everything down and just, hold the line, things came to me, and which was great. Hosting the panel at the 30th anniversary for the movie, also being in some of the videos that the American Battlefield Trust is putting out about the 30th anniversary of the movie, and then all the Gettysburg Christmas stuff. I was invited because of the 30th anniversary panel. Bo wanted me to host the Gettysburg Christmas panel, and I've been invited to host a couple of other things in the coming year, and that's nice because I've always said I'm not a historian. I'm more of a host or a personality, if you will, and who loves history and loves learning about it and sharing it. So. Anyway, like I was saying, I do believe in what we're doing here, and a lot of you, it seems to resonate with a lot of you. I hear it from you, and I appreciate it, and I don't take it for granted at all. Every day I wake up expecting everything to be taken away from me, so I do not take it for granted one bit. So I thought I would share some things that I need to thank you for this year. Because without you, a lot of these things would not be. First of all, and I this is to me the most important thing, because I always dreamed of making my living off of a talent or skill that I was just born with and didn't have to work at, and something I love to do, and I'm doing it now, and it's all because of you guys. So I don't really take that for granted at all. And I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I thank you very much for it. So let's give you some stats here. People like stats. Let's see here. Okay. Let's start with YouTube. So YouTube, I had a YouTube channel from the moment I began the podcast, but that was really just to have another platform to put the podcast on. And since I didn't have to do any extra work to do it, like I didn't have to make a video because I don't want to get too technical here, but my podcast publisher has an option to publish to a YouTube channel, and it does it automatically when I hit publish. So that's what I did. I said, okay, fine. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a YouTube channel. At the time I started it, I had just come off of being a wedding videographer, and I did not ever want to sit in front of a computer editing video ever again, because I had burned out on that. That wasn't a very lucrative career for me. So I felt like I was doing a ton and a half of work for only a couple £100 of gold. So it was not a good experience. And it has taken me until about a year ago to finally start warming up to the idea of, okay, videos need to be done. I have a YouTube channel. I need to grow it. I need to do YouTube videos, because a lot of the comments I get from people, they just don't seem to understand exactly what it is that they're watching or listening to. And if one more person says it would be nice if there were visuals to this, I'm going to find them. I'm going to find where they live and visit them and say, here's a mile of my shoes. Here, put them on and go walk. All right, so stats for YouTube. Overall this year, we had 886,300. I'm sorry, 886. Let's do it like this. 886.3 thousand channel views, and that is up 122% then from 2022. So improvement there. We gained 3.5 thousand subscribers, which is up 84% from 2020, or 84% more than 2022. Our top videos on YouTube, the Antietam to Gettysburg narrative episode, that's like 3 hours long, but that's got 154,000 views. Little Round Top October tour has 27,000 views. That comes in second place. And Ask a Gettysburg Guide number 52, Gunfight at the Peach Orchard with Ralph Siegel, that's got 17,000 views. So those are the top three videos. Videos that have above typical performance. The JFK assassination video comes in at number 1. The Trent Walker interview comes in at number 2. And Live from the Farnsworth House with Patrick Gorman and Bo Brinkman comes in at number 3. How you guys find us on YouTube. 48% of you go from suggested videos, 30% from browse features. I don't know what that means. And 6% from YouTube searches, and then it's a smattering of small percentages from different ways. But those are the top 3 ways. The top live streams of this past year: Little Round Top's April tour, Gettysburg, A Gateway Drug with J.D. Hewitt and Chris Mowry. That was the second place one. And Ask a Gettysburg Guide number 62, Kershaw's Brigade, is in third place. So that's what? Ralph Siegel in the top 3 for 2 different categories. Pretty good, Ralph. Pretty good, Ralph. Audience. Number of returning visitors has grown over the year, and our total YouTube audience is, not total, but our YouTube audience is mostly made of returning viewers, which is good. And the subscriber bell. So only 13.5% of you have actually clicked the notification bell when you subscribe. Now, look. I know you get so many notifications in a day, but if you don't want to become a patron, if you don't want to, I don't know, buy a t-shirt or do anything monetary to support the show, then one free and easy way to do it is like, share, and subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that notification bell. You can always ignore it, like you ignore all the other notifications that you get in a day. But it does help. Somehow, I don't know. They just tell me it helps. It does. They don't tell you how it helps. So go click it and be a pal. Gender. 92.3% are males on YouTube. 7.7% obviously are females on YouTube, which is interesting because on let's see, Instagram, I think it's something like 73% are male and the rest are female. So that it's interesting. I guess platform to platform, it's a different demographic there. Our largest age demographic is 65 plus here on the Tube of You, followed by 55 to 64, and then 45 to 54, and then a smattering of the younger demographics there. So I mentioned the publisher that we published the audio shows to. It's called Libsyn. It's short for Liberated Syndication. Pardon me. Short for Liberated Syndication, and that's where I publish to all of the podcast platforms. Now, by far, that's where we get the most traction, although YouTube and Libsyn are kind of going neck and neck now. So that's pretty interesting to see. We have, let's see, in 2023, we got 500,000 total downloads there. So actually, if I'm not mistaken, YouTube is now beating that. But we have 1.2 million lifetime views over there, or not lifetime views, downloads over there on Libsyn. The top 5 shows that people listened to on Libsyn were the July 3rd, and this is just in the past year, the July 3rd 160th anniversary episode with 5,200 listeners, the July 2nd 160th anniversary episode with 5,000, Ask a Gettysburg Guide number 70, which was Yule's Core, on July 1st, came in with 4,600. Ask a Guide 74, Slocum with Charlie Fennell, came in at 4,300, and number 73, Longstreet's Countermarch with Jim Hassler, came in at 4,200. The top 5 countries that people are listening on podcast apps from are the USA, Canada, the UK, Australia, and Germany. If you combine total YouTube and Libsyn downloads and views for 2023, we had 1.3 million, 1,386,300 views and downloads between those two platforms in that's just in 2023. To put that in perspective, we hit a total of 1 million all-time views and downloads combined in August of 22. That took 22, so as you know, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, that took 3 years to achieve, and we replicated that in 1 year since. So that's pretty damn good. But it'd be great if we can keep that going. Which brings me to 2024. So I think we will be able to keep that going and grow it, actually, which would be wonderful, with what we have going on with Gettysburg National Military Park. No doubt you've heard, because we've told you, but maybe you haven't heard. Gettysburg National Military Park, Chris Gwynn specifically, offered me an official partnership, they call it, to do the videos for the winter lectures. Now, I have been going there since 2019. I think I've only probably missed, because I was doing audio only recordings of the lectures. And so I think I only did the If These Things Could Talk 1 year. And then I was like, all the comments were like, too bad there's not a visual. I'd like to see what they're talking about. So then the years after that, I took those days off because I would go out there every Saturday and Sunday. It would be nice to get a Saturday or Sunday once in a while. So that's what I did. But this year now we actually are going to have visuals, and I'm going to try to make, there's 2 If These Things Could Talk, and I'm going to try to make them 2 camera shoots so that we can go back and forth and you can see. I'm going to try to make these a little better of a production than the Park Service had done before. And in their defense, they're not video producers. And, when you hire a video producer from the outside on a budget who's just out of school and will take, a couple of pennies for it, you tend to get what you pay for. And that's what happened last year. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know that's what happened last year, but that's what I guess happened last year, because there were problems. Although the live stream was an issue last year. And even when you're plugged in there, because there's so many people on the network, apparently, they just can't get a good enough signal to make a strong live stream go. And so this year they will not be live streamed. They will be recorded and uploaded within the week. My goal is Monday and Tuesday to upload them. But life sometimes gets in the way. So I told Chris in my meeting with him the other day, I said, my goal is Monday and Tuesday, but I promise they will be out within the week before next week's lectures are due or are being done. I have a couple of people who I've spoken to who I said, listen, if I get a cold or if I'm sick or something like that, and I can't make it, I need somebody to back that. They have to be done either way. I'm also going to teach Cindy how to run the cameras and everything in case I fall ill. Because I'll tell you what, I'm going to have a 6-day work week from January through March. We do all of our recording. Not all of our recording. We try to do. God willing, someday we will do all of our recording for the year in like January through, let's say, April or May. But we're going to get the bulk of it recorded over the winter in that time period, plus the winter lectures. So, I mean, I don't think I'm out of line by saying to anybody who's a free follower on Patreon, who might be watching this, you becoming a paid member really does take the sting off of these things, because there has to be some downtime for me, and that helps me with that. But it's going to help the YouTube channel. I also had a meeting a couple of months ago with someone who's the president of a nonprofit in Maryland, and he's a listener, and he likes what we do. And we talked about doing some videos together, some video ideas. And we talked, and one of the ideas we had was very similar to each other. And I said, why don't we work on them together? Why should we both do the same thing? And then people go, oh, you're just copying whoever does it first. And he's like, yeah, I have no problem with that. And so there's several ideas for a series of videos to do. Each with a different feel, each with a different focus. These are things that I can't. It's funny because if I were to like go out on the street and prank people or get something really expensive and destroy it on video, I'd have millions of followers, millions of tens of hundreds of millions of views, and probably tens of millions of dollars to go and produce these things on my own without really, just from the ad revenue, wouldn't even need patrons or anything like that. But the way it is, unfortunately, the American public is not interested in learning about its history on a grand scale like that. They're more interested in being morons. And so in order to fund these things, I have to team up with nonprofits or something like that. To crowdsource them alone, it couldn't work. I'll be 80 years old by the time one project could be funded that way. And I come to that realization just at the rate of growth that we've had with Patreon so far. Now, I'm not complaining. I mean, we have almost 500 paying patrons, and that was 4 years, right? What year is this? It's 2023. 4 years. Actually, less than 4 years. It's 3 years. Wait, that can't be right. Yeah, I started in 2020. It was actually December of 2019 So just what? I can't do math. Anyway, it's 3 years. So 3 years, almost 500, not bad at all. And not complaining in the least bit there. Speaking of Patreon, so Patreon has made a lot of changes in this last year. There's an ability to have a shop. So we have a shop here on Patreon now where you can go and you can get, a couple of things for free. It depends on, so if you're a first lieutenant, you get a lot of perks as a first lieutenant. So all the things I think I put in the shop are free. The only time I would charge for something in the shop is if it's like one of Billy Webster's songs or something like that. I have to split the money with him. So, because he, did the work. So that would not be free. But things like this, for example, let me put that up here.
Otterspan, Brodesson.
You can get that if you want it. People have asked for it as a ringtone. I think we also have, where is it? It would be here, wouldn't it? Yeah, and it would be here.
As I recall it,
So, little things like that. Also, we can put visuals on there. We could put some pictures, audio, video, whatever. So you can go over to the shop and there's things there that helps too. I mean, Patreon takes a ridiculous chunk out of things. So, it's more symbolic, I guess, than anything, but I guess it all kind of adds up in one way or another. So they have the shop, but they've also created this thing now where you can follow and you can basically join as a free member. Now, free members don't get anything I don't give them. So if you're paying and you're like, oh, they got a free member and they get everything. Well, no, that's not how it works. Free members, they get notifications, I believe, every time a post goes up, but if they don't have access to it, they don't have access to it. If they're not, a second lieutenant and it's for second lieutenants, they don't get it. I mean, obviously you understand how that goes. But what it enables us to do is kind of use Patreon as an Instagram or a Facebook. I hate Instagram. Well, I don't hate Instagram. I hate Facebook. And Instagram, I've started to stray away from, and I'll tell you why. And I'm going to be honest with you here. And you can say, oh, it's all about the money or whatever. But the reality of the situation is this is what I do full time for a living. This is my work. And there are times where I will work from 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning till 8:30, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And maybe take, a lunch break. Colby and I were talking the other day and about this because he does essentially the same thing. And we were like, okay, we have to, he just joined the gym because we were going to his house. We were going to his house to work out, but his house is like 20 minutes away. And so like there's no such thing as a quick workout before work because it's 20 minutes to get there. And then, you want to work out for an hour. It's just impossible for me. So thank God he joined the Y, and that's very close by. So we're gonna go to the Y more often because we're too sedentary, and it's just not healthy. But we're both in this situation where it's like, okay, we're doing well where we can pay our bills and eat, but our workload is too much, and we can't hire anybody. So I started thinking, I need to start focusing my time and efforts and energy on things that could potentially turn around and make me $1. And so, Instagram, Facebook, they play fast and loose with how you'll be seen. It's very simple with Patreon. If you join Patreon and we make a post, you all see it. You get a notification. And that might be annoying, I'm sure, especially if you follow a bunch of people. But if you're only a patron of Addressing Gettysburg, which you should be, then it shouldn't be that much of a pain in the ass. But now, so I'm thinking what I'm going to do is start using Patreon in 2024 as our social media channel or account or whatever you want to call it. We'll still keep Facebook and Instagram, but YouTube and Patreon are where I stand a chance to make a cent, right? So, well, like on YouTube especially, because, you know, you have to have so many thousand views before that turns into ad revenue for you. So you got to work a lot on that. And I used to do these morning drive videos when I would, you know, share my morning drive with everybody. But I had to make a business decision to stop that because it cost me more than it made me. You know, gas ain't cheap. Tires ain't cheap either. And I have a lease. And so I'm putting miles on that I normally wouldn't put on because my commute isn't that long. But I was doing these 20-mile a day videos, and you know, it wasn't really translating into anything. So I said, okay, it was fun while it lasted. I met some interesting people who were commenters and everything and enjoyed doing it. But at the end of the day, I have to make the most of my time. And now that I have a life outside of the show, I can't work 12-hour days anymore all the time because I have someone to answer to now. So, and a dog to take care of. So I can't be completely, you know, stuck in all this. So I stopped doing those. And then Patreon made it with the free thing. And I noticed with the free followers, all of a sudden we have like 100 of them. Which I don't particularly like, but okay, whatever. You know, it's your money. It's not mine. I don't deserve it. I'm not owed it. But it's still good. So we can use Patreon as an Instagram because I could put pictures up if I need to. And I just feel like the audience there, is more, involved. They're more, what's the word? Not committed, but they're more, they have an interest. They have more of an interest than a casual follower on Instagram or Facebook who doesn't always see the post because Facebook and Instagram play fast and loose. Okay. Right. Okay. So look for more stuff on Patreon as far as just kind of generic social media post type of things. And all of that jazz, and less of it over on Instagram and Facebook, which you've kind of seen anyway this year. What else? Oh, there's shows, in-person shows this year. March is going to be at the Adams County Historical Society. It's definitely spotlight on Tim Smith. I talked to Gary Edelman the other day when he was in to do an episode, and I ran the idea of doing a dual spotlight on with him and Tim, and he said, oh, I would definitely do that. I just need to think if I want to do that because I think individually they're both interesting people, but maybe there's a way I can do it where maybe I'll start interviewing one and then he can talk about his life up until he meets the other one. No, but then we'd have to go backwards. Well, we'll figure it out. Point is, that's going on in March at Adams County. Back up a bit, February, we have February 17th is a Saturday, and it's Taco Tuesday Trivia Night on a Saturday. And we're going to do, it's not a show. We're not recording it. It's just for fun, right? For fun and community and camaraderie, or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to get together at the Lutheran Seminary. Actually, it's at the refectory over at the seminary. And Jake Schindel from Ragged Edge is going to make the tacos. And I'm going to host trivia night. And so we want you all to come out and spend a little time, have a little fun. I don't know. You're going to have to talk to the seminary on that one because I think they're the ones who are gonna take I don't know how the ticketing works. I don't know if it's free. You just show up and you got to pay for the food or whatever. But I remember we were talking about it, and I said, you know what? I don't want anything for it. This will just be fun for me. So you guys charge whatever it costs for the food or whatever. So I think it's going to be a really low ticket price. Don't hold me to this, but I think maybe like between $10 and $20, probably more like $10 and $15, I think, per person. So talk to them. Contact the Lutheran. It's not the Lutheran Center. It's the Seminary Ridge Museum and Education Center. Google them. Get their phone number. I should have had that ready for you, but I don't want to waste your time by looking for it now. So then there's that. And then July 26th is going to be at the Camp Farnsworth. We're going to have a live concert. Yes, a concert with music. Billy Webster is coming down with his band, and they are going to perform songs from his album Marching Through Georgia. And it should be a fun evening outside. I don't know what we're going to do barbecue-wise or whatever. I'm trying to keep the ticket prices low because I heard some squawking and balking about how high the ticket prices were last time. But that's because I was trying to make it more of an event than just coming and watch a show. So I'm not going to do as many extra things for your enjoyment this year because I want to keep the ticket prices low. And you can't do a lot and have low ticket prices. I think some people made that mistake trying to do something to prove a point and had to cancel it because they just couldn't do it. And that is, you can't. So you got to get rid of things. Anyway, so that's July 26th. And then I am waiting for word on a date, but it's either going to be October or September. And that'll be our last in-person show of the year. And that is most likely going to be with Scott Hartwig. And it's also another Spotlight On. And it will be at, whatchamacallit? Give me the name. Come on now. Lincoln Social. Just got to narrow down a date for you. I'm trying, except for the July one. July 26th, there is no Get Out of the Car tour, as is the tradition now. We don't do them in July because it's just too damn hot. The concert is going to be outdoors, but it's going to be in the evening as the sun is going down. So hopefully it won't be terribly hot. It's still going to be hot, but not terribly hot. And who doesn't like an outdoor concert in the summertime anyway? And so I'm also going to try to time the other shows with the Get Out of the Car tour for that month, if there is one that month. Like there isn't one in March and February, obviously, but in September, October, there will be. So it's going to be on one of the Get Out of the Car tour days. The Get Out of the Car tour schedule and the live in-person shows schedule are all going to come out in the month of January as soon as they're ready. And the one thing I'm trying to do this year is have all of the ticketed events available for tickets available for purchase right at the beginning of the year. So that you can have your year planned out. You could pay for them at your leisure, and take your time and decide if you want to do it, as opposed to me saying, hey, in 2 months, we're having this show, go get your tickets now. And then you go, well, do I do it? What do I do? Whatever. So now I'm going to do it earlier in the year for you so that it's easier for you when you're making your plans this year to all your travel plans and what you want to do and whatnot. This is something that you can take into consideration as well. All right. Is there anything else? No, I don't think there is anything else to tell you about 2024. 2023 was a great year. And I know I say this all the time, and I know it probably sounds hollow, but I truly, truly appreciate all of your support. I have to thank Eric Dorr at the Gettysburg Museum of History for giving us the studio that we're in right now. Without him, honestly, I don't know that this show would have made it through the year, because I don't know where else we would have gone once we left the shed, and it was time to leave the shed. On both parties. My side of it was, I need more room, I need reliable internet, I need reliable electricity. I need climate control. And I said, more room. Well, on the Gettysburg side, we were like, we need more room. Well, that was it. We need more room. And so I was like, well, I think it's time for me to go. I just don't know where I'm going. And Eric brought it up and out of the blue, like, just offered it. Like, he had an opportunity that came his way, and thank God he thought of me and offered the space to us. And that saved us. The problem was that we had to wait. Well, it wasn't a problem at the time. The problem was that we had to wait like 8 or 9 months for the tenants to leave. But I remember I went to Jake at Gettysburg and I said, okay, I found a place, but I'm not going to be able to get out of there till like next June or May or June. And he's like, that's fine. We're in no hurry. So I was like, great. So it all worked out. But if it weren't for Eric, I don't know where we would be right now. So Eric is a lifesaver. He's a great guy, a huge supporter of what we do. So please, check out his museum. You can even check it out online, buy some artifacts. They are slammed now with the Christmas season with artifacts and things that are being sold on the website. And I can see downstairs he has a room where he takes the pictures of all the artifacts. And some days he just gets boxes and boxes of stuff. And it's really cool to when he's down the table, I'm like, what are you taking pictures of today? And it's like, some like Japanese World War II bayonet or just like really neat stuff. So definitely check them out over there. I really can't stress enough how thankful I am for him as well. Back to you guys, though. It's no exaggeration to say, and I've said this before too, that your support of addressing Gettysburg truly, with no exaggeration, has saved my life. And it has made me want to have a life again and believe that I could, which is probably pathetic that it had to take hundreds of people, supporting me monetarily for me to value my life. But I started valuing it before all that. But you do help a great deal with that. And you really have been a supportive group of people. It's very tough when you get a new idea and you want to try it. You can lose your audience. And that's why we use Patreon as kind of like our sounding board. That's why That's What She Said is exclusively over there, because I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. And when you're critical, you're not mean. You're not assholes about it. You're constructive. And that is very valuable to me. I don't think I know everything. I don't think I have the greatest ideas in the world. I don't think I'm the best at anything. And so I'm always open to hearing constructive criticism. I may not agree with it. I may not take the advice and put it into practice. Some people can't handle that. But I will consider it. I always do. And I appreciate it a great deal when it comes in the right way. And you patrons have been fantastic with that. You're very supportive of Veronica and Bethany, and I appreciate that tremendously because I believed in them. That's why I asked them to do that show. And they weren't particularly sure if they would be good, if they could do it. Playing second fiddle is different than hosting. So, I was kind of surprised with Veronica. I was like, well, Veronica, you're like my co-host on the, she's like, yeah, I'm your co-host, used to. So anyway, they did great from the very first show, which you've heard already. And I got to tell you, as the shows go on, they get better once they get more confident, more comfortable in their skin. But still, the point is, it's a proving ground. It's the sounding board, whatever cliche or metaphor you want to use. Patreon is where I feel I can get an honest critique of something. I don't want to always hear everything is great because everything is not great. And so I figure if you're paying monthly, and some of you people have been here with me for 3 years, and I mean, that's a lot of money. And I am so grateful for it because not only was I able to pay my bills and was I able to grow my business? But because there's a relationship that forms. Some of you I actually meet on, because you're local or, not far away and you come up here all the time. I get to know you guys and we sit and we talk and you tell me what you think and you're not afraid to tell me things you don't like. And I am not afraid to hear it. I like hearing it. I like hearing what you do like, but I really like hearing what you don't like because I want to, keep it going. So anyway, you patrons are the best. Absolutely the best group of people. And even the ones who watch and listen, but never comment, and I've never met you. I can see that you're continually supporting the show and you're remaining patrons. And I thank you very much as well. You all matter and you all help. And I got to tell you, even the free people, and we jokingly call you freeloaders. Well, is it jokingly? I mean, that is what it is, right? But we all take our entertainment for free. So we all prefer it that way, don't we? But anyway, we jokingly call you, well, in good fun, let's say, we call you freeloaders. But many of you eventually do become patrons because I get your emails and you say, I was a freeloader for a long time, but I felt guilty because I see all the work you put into it. We're not trying to make you feel guilty. My heart was fine before I started doing this job, but now I have severe problems. But, but don't feel bad because my medical bills are astronomical. Don't feel bad about freeloading because your compliments also help pay the medical bills. So, yeah, wait, let me do this. Okay. I'm just teasing you. It's a joke. God. It is a joke. The sponsors. Many of our sponsors have been with us for years. And we are thankful for them. We have new sponsors this year. There's nothing better than getting an email saying, I love your show. I'm interested in sponsoring it. How do I do it? Like, that's so cool. I don't have to beg you to be my sponsor. You come to me and say, I want to be your sponsor. That makes me feel good. So thank you to our sponsors for your continued support as well. Louis Trott. Now, Louis has been with me since basically I started. He was an early listener and an early communicator. And he sent me a very nice email to encourage me. And he said he really liked what I was doing and, don't give up. And that was great because that came at a time where people were coming to me saying that Jim and Eric were bashing me. And I was like, what did I do to them? And I was too fragile because, again, wanting to die. So I couldn't listen to it because I didn't want to relapse. So I didn't listen to it. And I just kind of gritted my teeth as people recounted it to me because I didn't want to be like, no, I can't hear it because I didn't want them to think it was a pussy. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's great. Oh, well, yeah. So then to get that email, and this is what I'm talking about. Every time I'm feeling low and I want to quit, out of the blue, I get an email. Or I get a letter with a book, or I get, these emails here that people send in. I got this one email from Josh McDowell, who I've been promising I'm going to read this, but it's like 4 pages long, but it's a beautiful and sad story. But he's talking about how addressing Gettysburg kind of helped him. Through some tough times. And, I don't know, like it's just, that stuff really feels nice. And sometimes it's really heavy, but it's all nice. It's all good. I forgot where I was going with that. I was hoping it would come back to me, but it didn't. Anyway, sponsors, I was talking about them. See, this is why I need somebody else here because they can remind me. Doesn't matter. Moving on to, Lewis. So, right. Oh, got it. So every time I feel like quitting, out of the blue, I'll get an email, I'll get a letter, I'll get maybe face to face. Like I'll bump into someone who, is like someone that I actually look up to and admire, and they tell me how much they like the show. Whatever it is, it's an astronomical spirit booster, and it comes out of the blue just at the right time. And that's when Lewis came in. And because he had explained to me that he was only, I think, 2 years into being a guide, and I know guides love bus rates. And I go, well, listen, I got an idea. I'll pay you a bus rate, even if we don't get a bus load of people. I think a bus rate is 17 or more people. So we always had way over that. I think our first time was double that. So anyway, he always got a bus rate. Point is, I said, look, I want to do this. You need experience. Why don't you put together a bunch of tours for the year? We'll call them the Get Out of the Car tours. The whole idea is you got to go out of the car into the wild open and explore your battlefield. Get to know your battlefield. It is everybody's. It's a national park. Our federal dollars pay for it. It's ours. So, and I got that idea because I did it. I took some ranger walks when I first moved back, and they showed us stuff that I had never heard of before and I had never seen before. And I had lived here for 5 years, and I owned a bicycle tour company at the time, and I went out on almost all the tours, and that were led by licensed guides. And I never saw or heard these things. Well, there's a simple reason why. We never got off the damn road. At the most, we would stop and walk to the North Carolina Monument or something like that, but we never really got into the nitty gritty of the park. But with this ranger walk, we did. And that's when I realized that you got to get out of the car. There was someone else at the time, and I won't say who, but he was at the time more popular, and he was like the big dog. And I started doing these videos after these ranger walks, and I would show you what I just learned. And then I would look at the camera and I would say, just another reason to get out of the car. And that would be the end of my thing. Then he started doing them, and he was saying, just another reason to get out and walk. And I was like, and this is why everybody hates you. Anyway, so that's where the Get Out of the Car tours came from. Lewis has been doing a great job with that. Everybody loves Lewis. Lewis loves everybody. He misses us all over the winter because, he doesn't get to see us. He doesn't get to see us as much as he does. And it's always nice to see the same smiling faces and new people during these tours. And so please, if you're a regular attendee of the Get Out of the Car tours in 2024, bring some friends with you, bring the family. Feel free to bring your dog if it gets along with other dogs. People are starting to bring the kids and the dogs along, and that's what we want to see. You got to light the spark, not so much in the dogs because, they don't understand history, but the kids. A lot of people I've spoken to over the years, their story has been that they, their memories of Gettysburg go back to coming down here with their dad when they were little kids. And they just like to climb the rocks in Devil's Den or, climb on the cannons. They didn't know anything about the battle. And many of them to this day don't know much about the battle, but they have a connection to this place. And frankly, I always roll my eyes at the ghost tours and all that stuff, but they're bringing people here in ways that history no longer does. And if there's 30 people on a ghost tour, but one of them wants to learn more about the history that he was supposedly told on the tour, which is usually wrong, and he goes and buys an actual history book and not a ghost book, then that ghost tour has a value to history. And so, as much as I roll my eyes at them, if ever there was a movement to get rid of them, I would stand on their side because they're valuable. They're just like the movie is. Gary Edelman always says it's much easier to undo the mess than to get somebody learning about the Civil War from, step one. He says it much better. I don't remember how he words it. But my point is that if the ghost, if you think you know history because you heard it on a ghost tour, because the guide was a historian and they've been studying the battle for 30 years, and they told you that Pickett's charge is responsible for the vast majority of the casualties of the Battle of Gettysburg. Not true. Then it's easier to undo that misinformation than it is to get you interested in it in the first place and tell you all the facts. So, you got to like the spark is my point. Bring them out on a tour or two, as many as you can come out on. They're free. And I think it'll do wonders for you to light that spark in your kid. You got to get them. I think you got to get them when they're like under 10, because when they're over 10, they start to think everything that you're interested in is stupid. So you got to get them when they're younger than that, because then even though they may stray away for a while, I guarantee you they'll come back to it in their 20s. All right. And let's see. God, there's so many people to thank. The guests that we've had on, the guides, the authors, the professors, Marianne, here on Matt's Isle. Thank you all for coming on the show. A good number of you are actual patrons, so thanks very much. Oh God, what else? Oh, yes, of course. Pete Carmichael for having us for the second year in a row at the CWI's summer conference. Eric, I spoke with him. If you're still watching, Eric, I spoke with him the other day. It's still on. We're still going. So you're on my crew. And that's the thing there. I want to tell you, I don't like to, you guys are all really helpful and really nice. And I don't like to just take. So whenever I have an opportunity, I'll give back if possible. So if, like, for example, an actor is in town and needs a ride to the airport and I can't do it for whatever reason, I might say, hey, I might be out of the way for you, but you get to spend X amount of hours in the car with so-and-so, you want to do it. Or, like Eric and I have been talking. Eric's been helping with the flag this year, picking it up, and he kind of enlists his family, when he brings his kids along, into the color guard. And so, and he asked if we needed help for the CWI because he wants to go to it. And actually, no, he was saying that, I think he was saying that he wanted to go to the CWI and he was going to sign up for it. And I said, well, don't do that, because I need a crew for that, because it's too big an event for me to do on my own. So I need a crew of people so I can get you in. I said, the only thing is you're not going to be able to go to everything and anything that you want to go to, because I'm going to need you to go to certain things to record, but we'll try to schedule it according to what your interests are. Well, logistically, Eric, we'll figure that out closer to the time, like in the spring. So anyway, that's what we like to do. So I'll always put the word out if we need something, but usually for the people that have kind of come out of the woodwork and offered help and I've taken it, then, since I don't have enough to pay you for your services, I try to pay you back in favors, like getting you into something if I can. Some people get that, other people don't. And that's just the way of the world. Okay. So I thanked Peter Carmichael. I thanked our sponsors. I thanked, I got to thank the Park Service in general. Steve Sims, of course. I missed the guy already. I think he did a really good job as a superintendent. And that may be because my last experience with a superintendent was very contentious. Not one-on-one, but John Latcher, who was the superintendent when I was here from 05 to 10, and he had an attitude that a lot of people in the public did not like. And I personally don't like when a bureaucrat acts like a lord of the land, and as if he's better than you. They forget the word servant in the term public servant. Not that I want you serving me grapes, but but he got a lot of things done. And the fact that we're clearing things and tree lines and stuff and all that other stuff, that it was decided before him, I think, but he's the one who implemented it, and he stuck with it. And the park has on and off stuck with it since then as best they could. Anyway, my previous experience with bureaucrats was not pleasant. And then but Steve Sims, I thought, was a great guy, and he totally shattered my I guess my prejudices that come from all those years ago. I enjoyed getting to know him. I think he did a great job with the park. I appreciate immensely his willingness to come on the show and take your calls back in October of last year, and then his offer in April and October of this year to let us come up and do live streams on Little Round Top and show you the progress. And I hope you enjoy those, and I hope you appreciate those, because we're going to try to do more things like that. I spoke with Chris Gwynn the other day, and I said, you know what I'd like to do, Chris? I know you got, we're doing this thing for the winter lectures, but there's other things going on during the year, and I would like to have access to them to cover. And one of the things I want to cover is the reopening of Little Round Top. I want to be there opening day. I want to see the first smiling face come up the summit on camera, and I want to interview people and get their thoughts on it. And he liked the idea, and he's like, I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do that. We'll talk it over further and everything like that. So I want to do a lot of stuff. We want to bring a lot of stuff to you. I know you want to be here. You can't be here. And, to me, video of something is never quite the same as it. I guess it's like if you're a smoker, you might be able to relate. You want a whole cigarette, but all you could get is like bumming a drag off of somebody. And it's like, that'll have to do. I guess that's what it's like, for people that want to be here but can't be here. And then they see a video of it. They go, all right, that'll hold me over. So it's not the same as being here, but we want to try to bring it to you as best we can. And we want you to make you feel like you're part of the community here. And that's why we do shows like AG Today. That's why we do the live streams, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope you get that, and I hope you appreciate it. And if you don't, well, there's nothing I can do. There's no accounting for taste, right? So let's see. Take over now. Listen to you. You do an amazing job. Keep with it. It's your talent. Thank you, Patrick, very much. So I think I there's so many people to thank, and you can listen to AG Today. I had a whole list of people to thank before, but there's certain people that really, really I need to thank. Oh, hey, I mentioned AG Today. Got to thank Veronica for her years of service to AG Today, and then Bethany for stepping right into her shoes and then kicking off her shoes and getting her own pair of shoes. I think, I said to Beth a couple of weeks ago, we all had a meeting, and I said many things, but I said one thing to Beth was, I said, listen, you're not replacing Veronica. You are here in her stead, which sounds about the same. But what I mean is, be your own person, do your own thing. You don't have to do things the way Veronica did them. You don't have to do anything that Veronica did. You just, make it your show too. And so she seemed very receptive to that. And I think she's doing a fantastic job. I think she did a great job as Mrs. Claus. I love the news segment with her. We're going to tighten it up a little bit. But, you know, when you have new people who are not experienced with this stuff, but they have like a raw talent, I feel you got to let them go a bit. Let them go, give them a lot of, and then rein them in. See what they're, you know, it's like when you're putting a horse through its paces, like see what the horse has first and then rein it in and then, you know, sculpt it. So that's what we've been doing with Bethany and her news. And so when we come back, we're going to have it a little bit more sculpted than it is now, a little tighter. Also, the show will be a little tighter as well. And AG Today was the show that I was actually considering not doing anymore for a couple of reasons. One was I was exhausted. Two, I felt like, you know, I would do all this work preparing a show. Everybody else would just show up and kind of sit down and throw in their 2 cents, which is fine because they're all doing it as a hobby. It's, you know, fun for them. But, you know, people do things as a hobby and they take pride in their hobbies. And sometimes people work harder on a hobby than they do work. So we had a meeting a few weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago by now. And I said, listen, when we come back, I'm going to be really busy. I'm going to have a 6-day week. I would love to have a 5-day week. And the only way to have a 5-day week is to get rid of AG Today. However, and when I say get rid of it, I mean postpone it till spring. I said, but I'd be willing to keep on doing it if it was worth my time. And the way it would be worth my time is if you guys kind of step up a bit, at least for these next few months. And like, Beth, you're the news. Take ownership of the news. Find the news, come up with clever little ideas for little bits and segments and whatever. If you need to enlist somebody like Jamie to do, you know, sidewalk conditions, enlist Jamie. It's your segment. Do what you will with it. Don't don't rely on me or look to me for any kind of, to come up with anything. Like you do it, make it yours. I said to Debbie, Deb, we need guests. I need guests because one complaint I always hear is too much Cam. And I must tell you that when I'm out of ideas and I'm exhausted, it's easy to just rely on Cam to take you on some wild ride. But there are people who completely shut off. One person told me, he's like, I won't listen to that show anymore because you had too much Cam on. Now, I don't believe in what's that line in Tequila Sunrise? Oh, and it's a hollow feeling when it comes down to dealing friends. Just because someone says I won't listen to AG Today anymore because there's too much Cam, I'm not going to say Cam pounds sand. He's my friend. I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't do that to you, and I won't do that to him. But I do have to kind of take into consideration what people are talking about, right? Okay, so I got too much Cam. Well, how do we get less of that? Well, we have to have something for my ADD rattled brain or addled brain to focus on. So we need more guests. So Bethany has spoken with GARMA, Gettysburg Area Retail Merchants Association, because apparently she didn't know this, but she's on the board, and they're going to people are going to start coming on the show. Because we want you. AG Today is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be funny. It's where we talk about news and things going on in our universe, but also it is where we we want to show you what's going on in the town. The thinking being you found the history shows because you're interested in history and you Googled something and poof, there we are. You listen, you become a listener, you listen to a bunch of them. Your passion for Gettysburg, which was always there, perhaps is now inflamed even more so. And you're like, you know what? I have never been there, or I haven't been there in 30 years. I want to go back, all because of this idiot's show. But what do I do? Where do I go? I haven't been there in 30 years, or I've never been there. I don't know what there is. Well, that's why you need Addressing Gettysburg Today. Now you say, well, there's other entities out there that will tell me what there is to do with it. But do they tell you because they've done it, because they've patronized that business, because they've eaten at that restaurant because they've stayed in that hotel or they have friends and family who do, will they give you an honest opinion? No, they won't. So, your buddies here will. Well, a diplomatically honest opinion. Eric says, thank you to Cindy for helping to get you straightened out. Yeah, really. Thank you for reminding me that. Yes, Cindy absolutely has straightened me out a lot. I actually have peace in my life now, which is nice. I feel at peace. And that's it. And, she's very helpful too. The other day, she goes, you know what? I think you should let me, I forget what it was, but we talked about it, and I said, okay, here's the email that you need for it. Have at it, do it, and just let me know when you need you have a question. And so that is a tremendous help as well. Anyway, I think I've bored you guys enough. Yeah, I think I have. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for this great year. I hope the holiday season for you is relaxing. I hope it is joyful. I hope that relative that you can't stand to be around because you're on the opposite political side of the aisle or opposite side of the political aisle. I hope that they either don't show up or they do show up, but that your love for each other overrides your stupid political opinions, because you're probably both wrong. The answer lies in the middle. Yeah, the new year's going to be great. I hope it's going to be great. I feel like it's going to be great. I hope it's going to be great for you. I wish you nothing but the best. You've given me nothing but the best, and I can't thank you enough. So I'm just going to leave it right there. God bless you all. Have a great year. And I will see you in 2024. Bye-bye now. Oh, let's see. We'll go out to a little... There we go.